In this video, we're going to be looking at the domain and range from the graph of a piecewise function. And piecewise means it's going to be separate pieces of the function like this. Sometimes there might be a gap in between and sometimes not. Okay, and we're going to find the domain and range of that. And if it is in two different pieces, then we'll use a union symbol, which is this, to connect those pieces. Okay, so let's start. We've got this graph here. Remember, domain is from left to right. So how far left does it go? -4, and it stops at -1. So it goes from bracket -4, because that point is included, to bracket -1, because that point is also included. And then it skips in between, and then it goes here. It starts again at 1, not included. I'm going to put a union in between here, 1, and it goes all the way to 4, which is included. Okay, so our domain is -4 to -1, both included, and then also from 1 to 4, where 1 is not included, but 4 is. Okay, now let's look at the range. So we look at the smallest, or the lowest part of the graph. That is -2, and that is included because it's a solid dot. And let's keep moving up until we have where the pen is not touching any graph at all. Okay, so it's touching one graph, now it's touching two graphs. Now it's only touching one graph, but it's still touching something. It's all the way up to 5 before, if you go past 5, it's no longer going to be touching the graph. Okay, so this part on the range doesn't really affect anything because this goes from all the way down to -2 all the way up to +5 without stopping. So this is within that range, so we'll just ignore it. So we'll go from -2 all the way up to 5, and that's included. And this, on that one, you do not need a union because it's just one answer. Okay, let's look at the next one. So domain looks like we go from -1 to 0 included. And then it starts again at 2, not included, to 5 included. 2 to 5 bracket. Okay, and then the range starts, the lowest point of the graph is -2 included. And then move up until we're not hitting any graphs. We're hitting one graph right now. Now we're hitting two graphs. Now we're only hitting the one graph. And if you go past this, you won't be hitting any graphs. So the highest point is 4. And that is included because it's a solid dot. Okay, let's look at this one. So the farthest left is -3, not included. And it goes to -2, included. So -3 with a parentheses to -2 with a bracket, and then union, we move all the way over to here, and it starts again at 3, not included because it's an open dot, to 4. So parentheses 3, comma 4, that one's included because it has a closed dot. Okay, and now the range, start at the lowest point, which is -5, not included. Okay, and you move up until there's no graph. There's one graph, now there's two graphs, now we're back down to one graph, and that's where we have to stop. So 5, and that's a solid dot, so I'll put a bracket. Okay, let's do this one. So the domain, the farthest left we go is -3, no, that's -5, excuse me, all the way to -1, neither included. So -5 to -1. Union, and then it starts again at 0 because it's right in the middle of the graph, and it moves all the way over to 2, and neither one of those points are included, 0 to 2. Okay, and that's it on the domain. Now the range, we start from here and we move up, so it's a -4, not included, all the way up to -3, not included. There's a skip in the graph. There's no graph between -3 and -2. So we start again, we do a union, and we start again at -2 with a parentheses because it's not included, all the way up to 1, not included. Okay, so there's the domain and range on that one. Let's do this one. So domain starts in the middle of the graph, so that's at 0 and it goes to 1. So from 0 to 1, the 0 is not included. The 1 is. Union, we start again at 2 included, all the way to 5 not included. So parentheses. Now range, start at the bottom, lowest part of the graph. That's going to be -4 not included because of the dot, and go up until you're not hitting any graphs. So here's one graph, now we're hitting 2 graphs, now we're just hitting 1 graph, and it goes up to 4. It doesn't go above 4. So 4 is the highest point, and that's included. Okay. And then for the last one, so we've got start at 4, and that was my dog. Back to it. So we start here at -4, and we move all the way over to -1. Either one are included. So -4 to -1, and then union. We start at 3, and we move to 5, and both of those are included. So bracket 3 to 5 with a bracket. Okay, now for the range, we start at the lowest point, which is a -3, and that's included because there's a solid dot right here. And then we move up until there's no more graph. There's one graph, now we're hitting 2 graphs, now we're hitting 1 graph again, and it stops at, how high does that get? 4, and that is included. Okay, and that's how you find the domain and range of a graph of piecewise functions.